Hey folks, today I am out, and by the way, forgive there's a lot of traffic back and forth, so I'll try to shout. This is the former home of Gary Hinman, who was purportedly the first victim of the Manson family. And I say first because even the Manson family members themselves said there were at least 35 victims that the police would never find prior to and after Gary Hinman. And Gary Hinman was killed at the very end of July 1969. Just a week later, the Tate LaBianca murders occurred in succession of 2 nights. Now, when Gary Hinman lived here in this house, he was part of the Topanga community. This is where, same area where Neil Young would later record his After the Gold Rush album about a year later. Topanga community was hippies, was communes, was free love. Everything associated with the 60s and the anti-war movement was here in Topanga Canyon, as well as Berkeley, Haight-Ashbury, other places. So when Gary Hinman lived here, he was a Buddhist by nature, easygoing guy from what they say. He was a college student at UCLA, he was 35 years old, but he also gave music lessons. He was well gifted in he had a lot of knowledge of a lot of musical instruments, and to make money he sold music lessons. Now unfortunately for him, he also sold drugs on the side, particularly marijuana, but perhaps mescaline and other drugs as well. Now also unfortunately for Gary Hinman, he came into the acquaintance of Bobby Bosley. Bobby Bosley was a budding actor and hippie who had his own commune, and then eventually met Charlie Manson and the Manson family and joined the Manson family. Well, Bosley introduced Gary Hinman to Manson and the Manson family. Charlie Manson eventually wanted Gary Hinman to join the Manson family. Hinman refused. That was probably where the animus started between Charlie Manson and Hinman, a man he couldn't control. So in late July, Manson, hearing that, let me proceed that. Bobby Bosley says that he bought 30, I think it was 30, a lot of mescaline, I don't know the amount, from Gary Hinman, later sold them to the Straight Satan motorcycle gang who used to come up to Sprawn Ranch, and that the Straight Satans got sick off the drugs and wanted blood. They wanted vengeance. So Bobby Bosley says that he went up to the house and demanded some kind of retribution from Gary Hinman. Gary Hinman said, hey, the dope was okay, it wasn't me, and I don't have any money. Now, for some reason, Bosley was under the impression that Gary Hinman had recently come into a $30,000 inheritance. Bosley said, I'll show you my checking account. I have $50 in it. He said he was flat broke. How he was paying the mortgage or the rent, I don't know, but that's another story. Maybe by the continued payments he got from his music teaching. So he was giving him a hard time about money, and Charlie Manson, who was at Spawn Ranch up in Chatsworth, heard it and said, don't take no for an answer, get money. So at some point, in fear for his life, Bosley signed over the pink slip, the registration to one of his vehicles, over to Manson. That wasn't good enough. Manson came over with Bruce Davis down from Spawn Ranch, came up here carrying a samurai sword, came through the door and wordlessly sliced at Hinman's ear. And he said to Bobby Bosley, this is the way you got to do it, got to be a man, you take care of him now. Manson didn't stay very long. A couple of the girls who were with Bosley spent the next day or so trying to get the money out of Hinman. Hinman pleading for his life, stitch up his ear with dental floss. Hinman wanted to go to the doctor. Bosley wouldn't let him. Bosley unsure what to do. Bobby Bosley was calling Charlie Manson at Spawn Ranch. Manson was saying, forget it, take care of him, take care of him. So at some point, we don't exactly when, Bobby Bosley then killed Gary Hinman. He stabbed him, and fortunately for Hinman, it took a long time to die. He suffered for a long time, for hours. Finally, the Manson family wrote Political Piggy in blood on the walls of the house to make it look like, and they would do the same things at the Tate residence and LaBianca residence a week later to make it look like perhaps the Black Panthers had committed the crime, also tying into Charlie Manson's helter-skelter motive. And then Bobby Bosley took off. Instead of hitchhiking, he took Hinman's other vehicle. Well, he secreted the knife, the murder weapon, in the tire wheel of the car, took off up north, and somewhere on PCH, Gary Hinman was caught, found with a murder weapon, arrested, and at least according to some of the girls, that was when the plan really put in motion to do the Tate, what became the Tate LaBianca murders. Beyond the helter-skelter motive, they supposedly begged Charlie, because they loved Bobby Bosley, aka Cupid. They said, we've got to get our brother Bobby out of jail. They wanted to do a copycat murder to make it look like the true murderer of Gary Hinman was still on the loose. So this was, and I believe this to be true, that this was part of the Tate, or the inspiration for the Tate LaBianca murders was to provide an alibi or a copycat motive, supposedly, to Bobby Bosley, who was rotting away at LA County Jail at that point, a week at that point. So that's it, folks. As you can see, there are keep out, wildlife signs. They definitely don't want anybody coming near the property, which is why we are across the street. So that's the story of Gary Hinman. It's creepy up here, I'll tell you, up in Old Topanga Canyon. So folks, if you like my channel, please subscribe. Please, if you do subscribe, hit the little bell next to the subscribe button. That'll indicate when I have posted something. Please give me likes, because the algorithm is followed by YouTube, and it will really help me out. And comment in the comment section if you see fit. All right, thanks very much, folks. Appreciate it. My name is Ron, and we'll see you at the next location. Bye-bye.